everyone, and welcome to my first hammock hang. My name's Alyssa if you're new. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. I'm a nurse, I make vlogs, and I make videos about being a nurse, and I don't know, you never know what you're gonna get. You might, I don't know, I've been thinking of some new stuff. And also, make sure you're following me on Instagram because when life gets really busy, I post on Instagram the most. I try to post at least once a week on this channel. I've been pretty successful with the once a week thing, but it's really hard because I'm a full-time nurse. I've gotten quite a few questions with people asking me to share what I do at work. So kind of like my everyday flow. Sorry if you can hear the birds and or my children in the bathroom. They're having bath time with Charlie. And Penny says, what's up? So I'm going to kind of talk about an ideal workflow. Obviously there are so many different variables to how my day can go. I mean, we all try to have our flow, but it doesn't always work. The first thing that I do is I try to get to work early. I've been kind of slacking lately just because I've been a little bit more on the burnt out side, I'm not gonna lie. So the first thing I do is I get to work, I put my stuff in my locker and put my lunch in the fridge. I always pack a lunch. So I usually try to get to work at least up to my unit by 10-2, and I work 12-hour night shifts. So I get there, then I punch in, and then I typically will go into we have a boardroom, and I'll kind of see like what my group is gonna be. And if I have a little bit of time, I have brain sheets, which this is what they look like right here. If you guys want me to kind of show you how I fill out my brain sheets, let me know and I'll make a whole video on that. I typically will make sure that I have my brain sheets and I fill those out if I have time. Otherwise, if I'm running a little bit late, I won't. At the very least, what I'll do is I'll read our profiles because we get these printed out profiles of each of our patients. So we are capped at 6 patients. 6 is a lot, but typically when I get there, I'm typically not capped. Typically I'll have, this is pretty typical to have about 4 patients. Maybe 5 if the unit's really busy, but like go through my profiles, kind of see like their code status, see why they're there, check out their history, things like that, check out like their lines and all kinds of things like that. And then you kind of just want to flip through and see what's going on so you can ask questions during a report. So then the next thing that I do is I go try to find the nurse or nurses that are giving me a report, which can sometimes be a challenge because sometimes you're getting a report from 3 nurses. So I go find my nurse or nurses and then I get report. And, you know, ask them any questions like how do they move, like how do they take their pills. It really depends on what I ask them. Depends on, you know, what's going on with the patient, the age of the patient. There's a lot of factors, but typically that's kind of what you're covering in report, is just figuring out, you know, the whole picture of your patient so you can take care of them really well. I do carry a clipboard that I will typically keep my profiles and my brain sheets in from my previous shift, because sometimes if you're lucky, especially if you're working a few days in a row, you can sometimes get your same group. So I also keep them in the clipboard. I'll link all of my stuff that I use down below in the description bar if you guys kind of want to see what I use, you know, anything from like my scissors to my stethoscope to my clipboard, pen lights, compression socks. Like I have even my scrubs I have linked down there. So if you're curious and you know you're a new nurse or you're just kind of seeing what other new nurse or what other nurses use, definitely check that out. I think I will make a video. I have a video that I use for like what I take to clinical, which I'll link in the eye in the sky for you guys. But I think if you guys want, let me know if you want me to make a video on my brain sheets and how I fill those out, and B, or if you want me to make a video showing you guys like the scrubs that I own and just the stuff that I use at work. But anyway, so once I get done with report, I'll typically try to kind of look through all of the patient's like most recent labs. If I have time and report doesn't take forever, I love trying to read the H&P. It's like the history and physical, or any updates that the providers have put in the computer. So definitely lab results though, because you could end up having like sliding scale electrolytes or whatever. So I pretty much glance at that. So if I have that time, I'll sit down and spend probably 20 minutes doing that. And if I wasn't able to get my brain sheet started, unless it's like total chaos and I get an admission or something, I don't always get to my brain sheets, but I really like getting to my brain sheets so I at least have like a quick snapshot, because the profiles that we have of the patients are like anywhere from like 3 to 6 pages long. So obviously it's so much easier to have a brain sheet with 3 patients on each page, kind of glance at why they're here and things like that. And then I pretty much start giving my medications. And giving meds can, and when I give my medications, I also will assess the patients as well, just to kind of see how they're doing, where they're at, things like that. Especially if they have any like incisions or anything like super acute going on. That's kind of what I do for the next 2 to 3 hours, and then typically after that I will What? Hi. Charlie keeps opening. He keeps opening. Turn the fan on. You can really get an admission at any time. Sometimes it'll slow down, or at shift change when the PM shift goes home, typically we'll pick up at least one patient to either become capped, or it just really kind of depends on how many people are on the unit, what our staffing is, etc. So sometimes we can end up capped, you know, at shift change, and then, or we're open to an admission. So obviously you can get an admission at any time. So that's kind of the flow of how things go. If you're having an okay night, typically things will kind of slow down around like midnight or 1. It really kind of depends on a lot of things. And then that's kind of when I'll try to start catching up on charting. Obviously every night, it just depends on how it's gonna be. And then the rest of the night is pretty much just taking care of your patients and kind of rolling with the punches and trying to keep up on your charting. But I'd say the first half of your shift not always is the busiest, and then typically around 4 a.m. things can kind of start picking up. It depends. Definitely by 5 a.m. things start picking up, and then I'll have, you know, I have like things to, like meds to give throughout the night. Like sometimes people have IV antibiotics due overnight, or sometimes people are on specific protocols where they have stuff. So it's really just very rarely do you have a slow night, especially on my unit. My unit is a very busy night. Like, I feel like we have a slow night maybe every month and a half. Otherwise it's been pretty busy lately. And then around 5 o'clock, lab starts coming up and doing their draws. So people are waking up and they're, you know, asking questions, and you have more meds to give. And then you hope to have everything done by the end of the shift. You kind of ask other people, like, you know, especially if, you know, someone passes away or someone else gets an admit, you try to like help them. Obviously I'm brand spanking new still, at least I feel like I am. I've probably been off orientation a couple months now, and I try to help people when I can, but usually everybody's unfortunately helping me because things take me a little bit longer. I have to ask more questions still, but I think I'm kind of slowly getting into my groove. I like to say that I'm always doggy paddling, like I'm always just barely staying afloat, which is fine because it's better than drowning. It's been a really hard transition. Like I said, I'll talk about that in a different video. It's just been hard on my family and everything, but the whole work aspect of it is hard too, but it's getting a little bit better slowly but surely. Everybody's been very, very helpful. So that part I'm super, super grateful for. But night shift is not easy. Like I used to think like, oh, I'll just work a few nights in a row and then I'll have several days off and recover. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way. Like tonight I was actually supposed to be on mandatory overtime. I picked up like 4 hours. We had to pick up 24 hours this pay period. So I didn't want to work 16 hours straight because that's just ridiculous. Because then it's really 16 and a half to 17 hours. The only way you're gonna get me to work that shift is if I'm mandated, and I absolutely, like, they make me stay. So I've just been picking up like 4-hour shifts here and there, but luckily I got put on call, so that was awesome. But this week I work Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So basically I'll work Monday, I'll sleep half of the day on Tuesday, and then try to go to bed at an okay time on Tuesday, and then I work Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'll sleep, you know, probably till 2 or 3 on Friday. So really, even though it's only 3 days of work, it is my whole week. And I think that's a big misconception with being a nurse, that people think that nurses just have all this time off. You are so worn out because your 12-hour shifts are typically 13-hour shifts, and it's crazy. Like, it is straight chaos. When I am working, it's pretty much I work, I come home, I eat something quick, I go to bed, I get up, I work out, and then I go back to work and I do it over again. So it's kind of hard, but you know, I'm getting my flow on. So that's pretty much what I do at work. It's kind of how my typical shift goes. So like I said, if you guys want to know kind of what I use at work, or if you want me to go over my brain sheets and show you guys how I fill those out, definitely let me know. Penny says hi. What up? I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I know a couple people have been asking. It's kind of, I can't take you guys to work with me to show you, so I just have to kind of talk about it. But if you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. I think that I'm going to hiding. So
Somewhere by a gated star, baby,